Hey guys, what's up? Game Pizza Boy here, host of the Pizza Party. Welcome back in. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Today, I want to go over quickly the January 5th, 2023 patch notes for Overwatch 2 that was just released recently, of course. I know this is the first one, obviously, for the year, so I thought I'd just kind of go through it, of course, and we can discuss it and give our thoughts on it. If hopefully, you guys are all enjoying the patch notes, hopefully so far, and I'm willing to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section below. We're going to go through everything that was just announced right now, including some of the hero updates. And then I will leave it to you guys in the comment section below to tell me your thoughts on it so far. And I'd like to hear from it, of course. I'll be giving my thoughts already during this video. So let's not waste time and let's get right to it and discuss the patch notes. Okay, first up, we're going to talk about, obviously, is the new seasonal mode, Battle for Olympus, which is a new free-for-all mode right now. It just came out, I think, like a few days ago on like January 3rd, I think it was. Or on the day of it, January 5th. Yeah, January 5th, actually. Yeah, that's when, yeah, pretty much that day, of course. In free-for-all, in this free-for-all death match mode, Battle for the Throne of Olympus has 7 powerful gods and monsters from Greek mythology, each with a unique divine power that kicks in when they use their ultimate ability. The most valiant contenders in the Battle for Olympus will have the chance to earn limited-time voice lines and player titles to brag about their accomplishments for all eternity. There's also a skin you can also get for Mercy as well, too. At the end of the event, the heroes whose power were used to secure the most eliminations across all matches will be crowned the new ruler of Olympus. So yes, there is a currently match going, like event going on right now where you can go ahead and go play this cool mode. I actually played a little bit on stream game, so you can go take a look at my VODs on Twitch, of course, on that, or you can go see some gameplay here on YouTube. It's a pretty cool mode so far. I really do definitely enjoy it. I'm just doing it just to try to complete my challenges. So make sure you guys are going to get it and grind for as much as you can. It starts, of course, since January 5th, and it will end until January 19th. So make sure you guys are going to get it and try to grab all the skins, the titles, the Battle Pass XP if you need, and just have a little bit of fun right there and try out the mode for yourself. So get that grind going, and hope you guys are all enjoying it for sure indeed. Moving on next is the competitive play, getting obviously Capture the Flag. Capture the Flag is a mode I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with in many FPS games. It will be introducing itself into competitive very soon. January 2023, the season of competitive Capture the Flag will begin on January the 10th and can be found in the competitive play menu. The competitive play loading screen has been updated. So now for all you competitive play players out there, you guys can go ahead and go enjoy yourself, Capture the Flag. So on January 10th, go get that and go enjoy, and hopefully you all have fun. Next up, I'll talk about now is the hero updates. And this is the last thing we'll be talking about, of course, and I'll be giving my thoughts, of course, on everything else so far, pretty much. One thing I want to point out, though, for the hero updates is that I'm very disappointed there's no sign of the Roadhog rework that we were hoping, honestly. I know we are waiting for, like, a rework for Roadhog soon, especially for his hook, but there is nothing about the Roadhog here whatsoever. There's only 4 heroes that will be introducing this, and that is obviously Junker Queen, Zarya, Brig, and Moira, which we'll be going through. So let's go ahead and discuss this right now, and then I will give my thoughts for each and every one of them right now. But yeah, still no Roadhog from it yet, but hopefully we'll hear from it soon. First up, Junker Queen. Junker Queen's got some stuff of her going on right now, and that is, of course, first is Adrenaline Rush. So as you know, Adrenaline Rush is her passive ability, which allows all wound damage that Junker Queen does to anyone will cause her to even heal herself. Now, originally, of course, it would simply just heal like a certain amount of it, basically, based on like at least like 125% of wound damage dealt. Basically, will give her like a little bit of health, obviously, for that, I think it was. But now, in the patch notes, they state is that it will now heal for the remaining wound damage when an enemy dies with wounds on them. So now, anytime at all you now deal any remaining wound damage that is given, that has happened when given, will now give every remaining bit of it when the enemy dies. So typically you would just get a little bit now based on how much damage you deal, but now it will give back the remaining health, obviously, from the wound damage when an enemy dies from the wounds on them. So nice way to kind of speed things up a little bit and get your health back pretty quickly. So that's pretty cool. Next is Carnage. As we all know, Carnage right there, what it does is that anytime whenever her active this ability, she'll swing her axe, and usually just will deal like a certain amount of damage, obviously about like 90 damage on impact, about 40 damage of wound over 3 seconds. Has like a nice little range of 5 meters, can cast for like a second or so you can get it back down quickly, and it has like an 8-second cooldown, so you can get it back after a soon time. But now what they did with this is they actually reduced the cooldown of it by 2 seconds for each enemy it impacts. So That means if you can hit like more than one enemy with this, or at least hit one enemy, it will lower it down by 2 seconds. So from 8 seconds, if you hit one enemy, it will now take 6 seconds. If you hit two enemies, that'll be 4 seconds. And if you somehow hit three enemies, which that would be kind of crazy though, you would have to wait just simply 2 seconds and you can use it again. So, and that's quite a buff right there, pretty much as well. You can get yourself back really quick with Carnage right there and use her axe. So, game on, baby. Get out there. And finally is Jagblade, or as I like to say, Gracie, as we all know, pretty much. She obviously, we typically will throw her blade, obviously, and would deal like 50 damage on impact, and would deal like 30 wound damage over from the thrown impact for 3 seconds, and then after that, another one if it comes back returning. So it's a nice little cool little one right there. Obviously, it has a cooldown of typically 6 seconds, and pretty much you can get back. It's pretty quick to kind of get thrown and pretty easy to get some damage right there. But the quick thing, what they did to this is that they actually did this to Gracie right here. They actually reduced the thrown impact damage from 80 to 50. So now instead of being 80 damage, it will be 50 damage. So now it is no longer going to deal that much damage. It's kind of a little bit nerfed to the impact damage as it usually did before. But they do say is that the thrown direct impacts now add a 30 damage wound to the stuck target, and with wounds caused by quick melee or returning jagged blade hits. So basically, anytime at all now, so it's kind of like a little bit of slight nerf and kind of buff in some way. So now instead of doing 80 damage, it's now 50 damage now to Gracie now when you're just throwing on impact. But however though, now it's a little bit more, but now it adds, now it's been, the thrown impact now has an extra 30 damage wound of it to the stuck target. So instead of, so now instead of being like, just simply the 15 damage when it usually returning usually back. I think that's what it means. I think when it, instead of just being directly now, just 30 damage is now adds another 30 damage to the wound stuck target, obviously. And it stacks with wounds obviously caused by quick melee or return jagged blade hits. So that means if you hit them again and keep stacking it over and over, it will basically keep additionally doing the damage a bit more. So instead of just doing 30, it will just do 30, and it will stack up and keep doing up pretty much. So I believe now, I guess imagine if it's you throw it again, it'll be 60 damage, and I guess for the wound return, impact will be what's 45, I think, or something 40, something like that. I'm just trying to make sure I understand that pretty much. But I think it's kind of a slight nerf to the jagged blade. Sorry if I sound a little bit stupid on that. I just trying to understand what they mean by that a little bit more, so I'm not big on statistics, so I'm doing my best I can to explain this, but honestly, it's pretty fun to kind of go through this still. So yeah, I think Jagged Blade kind of got a nerf right there, so it's not going to deal 80 damage anymore. It will deal 50 damage to the just normal thrown impact, but obviously the direct impact to it, so when it sticks to the enemy, so besides just the normal thrown impact that hits it for 50 damage, it will now, even though it won't do 80, it'll just do 50. This one will just basically do just now an additional 30 if the stuck target, if it from the normal wound. So I think it's gonna be an extra now, so it's 60 damage now. And not only that though, it will just keep stacking with the wounds caused by anytime you use jagged blade hits, or if you just use your melee attack. So that's pretty much Jungle Queen kind of got I think quite the buff around here so far, because definitely Adrenaline Rush and Carnage got the taste. Jagged Blade definitely got kind of a slight nerf, but it seemed had something to still keep it additionally, especially using the most of her wounds relay feature right there into it. So I do like to see where that kind of goes for. So I think Jungle Queen's gonna be pretty nice. Moving on, next now is Zarya, and let's see what Zarya has right here. And Zarya, it basically is getting something to her energy. So typically what the energy would do, obviously it would basically act like a shield, which would, of course, block it would cause basically anytime you block any damage with your special shield ability. So using obviously the particle barrier and stuff like that, or the projectile barrier, any of that stuff happening, basically it will increase the particle damage from the cannon, obviously your main weapon, of course, to whatever creatures reach for. So what they did to this is now they made it now energy degeneration reduce from 2.2 to 2 per second, and delay before energy degeneration begins after gaining energy increases from 1 to 2 seconds. So basically the the degeneration of the energy when it takes to get that increased damage, it looks like it basically is going to basically be reduced from 2.2 seconds to 2 seconds. So it's a little bit slightly, I think like a slight little bit, like a nerf, I think, basically right there, because obviously it's going to degenerate pretty quickly. Obviously now a little more, it's just slightly. And obviously with the delay for the gaining energy, of course, when you're before it begins, after gaining it, is now being increased from 1 to 2 seconds. So you can wait like another second or so before eventually, for delay, before eventually the whole thing goes away and it's just gone like that. So it kind of helps you basically still keep the energy of the extra damage keep going, but also like a little bit more, but like a second a little more, but also make it kind of go back to normal after that once it's already been kind of used up basically, or so, or you already take so long to use it. So obviously it's, I think, kind of like a little bit of like, I think like kind of like a buff basically, because typically you would basically do is that it would help you reach the maximum one when you block damage with energy. And it usually just typically, of course, had like a 2.2 second delay after last gaining it, and you would have like a low energy rate, of course, obviously of like, you know, like basically a 1% or so, but now it's like 2 seconds. And obviously it would reset upon death or so, and obviously the more energy Zara has, the brighter she glows, obviously representing that she's having it. And of course 50% or higher is considered the highest energy for damage, obviously, from it. So looks like it's basically kind of like a slight buff in there for some situations, a little bit right there. So a little tiny bit quick to get it reduced, to get the energy to degenerate anyway, but also slight increase right there to just give a delay that the energy can stay consistent before it degenerates, and then you lose that increased damage, obviously, after some time with the buffer there, pretty much. So I think they were just trying something with her a little bit right there. So we'll see how that kind of goes. I want to experiment with her a little more. So we'll see what happens. Next is Brig. Brig is getting her kind of a pretty much like a small buff, I would say, pretty much, to try to get it back on pretty much, I guess, good with some other supports a little bit more. And what they did is actually to her barrier shield. So obviously she has her own shield that she can guard herself and her allies behind her. They increased the health from 250 to 300 health, which is, I guess, okay. I guess, I mean, basically her shield can go down pretty quickly, obviously, and will regenerate like 85 barrier health like per second after being down for like 2 seconds after going there. With, of course, you still are slowed down, obviously, and waiting 5 seconds of a cooldown if destroyed, obviously. Honestly, like, this doesn't seem like much of a good buff to me, honestly, with that. As much as it sure, slight buff right there, extra more damage to take for her shield. That's cool. But I don't think this does much for Brig anyway. I don't think it's going to really get her back on par with much supports, obviously. So I'm just going to say this is like okay, but okay, pretty much buff so far for her right there. But I don't know how this is going to go pretty much for her, because most of the time, though, obviously, she's going to be trying to use her, like, her whip, and obviously everything she can to attack enemies that get close to her, and use her repair packs to help heal 110 damage over 2 seconds to her allies and stuff like that herself, or inspire when she uses that, obviously, for passive ability, or get ready to use rally, you know, any of those kind of stuff, basically. But mostly right now, when I think of like this little slight buff they're doing for Brig, I guess pretty much, I mean, it's okay, but like, we'll see what happens. I want to play around with it a little bit more for this, see how it can take for her shield, but I still don't think it's gonna be anything as exciting as much for her, because again, it's just a slight extra 50 health to her barrier shield, so that she can just still shield a little more. But obviously there's probably gonna be still easy damage to take her out, so she'll have to be still kind of careful with this. Finally, last but not least, moving on, is Moira. She's getting kind of pretty much an interesting buff right now, which is something I talked about with one of my buddies, obviously, on stream a couple times, and obviously I've discussed before, and I'm not really a big fan of this right now, because they're doing something to her biotic orb, which obviously is her orbs where she's summoned that you can choose to heal or to damage. And we all know how commonly lately a lot of Moira players tend to do a lot of DPS, and even though, yeah, she does have some DPS as in her own right sometimes, I do encourage everyone to please try to at least play a little bit more healing more than just DPS. Only just use a DPS if it's like someone almost close to dying, basically they're working terribly with the team, or if someone's like flanking around or something like that. just don't go overly amount with damage, because obviously with DPS, if you focus on just DPS and you have more DPS than health healing than Moira than ever, then it's like, why? But the reason why I'm talking about this is because they did some sort of Biotic Orb, and now they made it that dealing damage with Biotic Orb now restores a small amount of Biotic energy. So you can get it back, of course, and use it, your bio energy to like heal more people and stuff like that. So now they're basically trying to encourage people to do more DPS Moira. Like, why? Why DPS Moira right now? Why? It's kind of crazy why they're doing this, honestly, because like I really try to encourage as much as I can with many Moira players to not focus on just DPS all the time, because as much as I know it's a habit sometimes, even for myself, I try my best to stay by my team and heal them as much as I can, and really use the healing orb, especially besides the damage orb, and just go crazy with heals as much as I can. And when I need to, I just go use my ability to kind of push people back and hopefully get them back as quick as I can, and stick with my team so I can heal them much and just deal damage when people are flanking or something like that, or we're getting too close for comfort. I can actually just quickly swoop in on them with my teammates. And yeah, so I'm not so sure how I feel about this, so we'll see how this plays out. But I am going to be really furious if I see so many Moira players just focusing on DPS and not healing. Because if I have to see like more like DPS Moiras than ever, and they're not healing a single bit of teammate and just leaving like one heal to work on that or not, that is going to be frustrating as hell. So we'll see what happens right there. Anywho, that is going to do it pretty much right there. There is a couple other related bug fixes for like the maps, other hero related stuff, general stuff, which I'm not going to be going over right now in this video, but I will put the link to the patch notes in the description if you want to go read it for yourself. Again, I think definitely so far this patch is kind of starting off, I guess, pretty okay so far. I mean, definitely Junker Queen's got some pretty good signs stuff. Zarya definitely got some stuff. Brig is okay. Moira, I don't know why. And I definitely been enjoying the Battle for Olympus event, so I'm really going crazy with that event. Hope you're all enjoying it too yourself and grinding for it to get all those titles and voice lines in that Mercy skin. And for the competitive play, hopefully you guys are definitely are big fans of Capture the Flag. And for competitive, you want to go enjoy that on January the 10th. I'm not a big fan of competitive, so I might not be playing as much, but I know for a lot of people they will, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I hope so. Anywho, that's all I want to talk about. Quick short video to talk about this stuff. Let me know your thoughts on the patch notes in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you want to help support the channel. And you can click on my multi-link down below if you want to keep in touch with everything going on for the pizza party. You can also come check me out live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. CST and Fridays and Saturdays at 4 p.m. CST. I would appreciate your support, as always, checking me out on there. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm your host, Game Pizza Boy, host of the Pizza Party. I'll see you guys next time. Keep on partying.